Hey, I'm Jake from Las Vegas, Nevada. I feel like this isn't a place for like kids to grow up and stuff. This is like a vacation spot. People should come visit and leave. You're exposed to a lot of the fast life and fast money and stuff that's not for kids, man. I feel like living in Vegas, I did a lot of stuff way sooner than I should have, like from drugs and drinking and sex, everything. So my dad was in prison before I was even born. And then when he got out when I was a couple years old and then went back in and out, he was only out for about like 2-3 months at a time. Then he'll go back for a couple years. Mom was like a car girl. She was just out all the time. And she met my sister's dad. Me and my sister, we got different dads. She met him when I was about like 3-4 years old. And he was in my life most of my life. He was more of my dad than my actual dad. As far as being aware of what my parents were doing when I was younger, I was a little confused. I just knew my dad was doing bad stuff because he was selling drugs, he was robbing people, a lot of the same stuff that I ended up coincidentally doing when I grew up. But he was doing it like way worse. He was trying to do like movie stuff. He's trying to rob like Brinks trucks drivers and stores and do all this shit. And but a couple times he would only be out for a couple months, I'd tell you. But every time I would hang out with him for the couple weeks, a couple months he was out, and a couple times I would go with him on drug deals. Like I got like a box of cupcakes on my lap, and I'm driving passenger, and I open it. It's like half cupcakes and half like a big ass bag of like 1,000,000 ecstasy pills. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm only like 8 years old at the time. I'm thinking this shit's cool. I'm like, that's how you make a real money. That's how it's just bad influence at a young age. And then my mom, I didn't really know what she did, and she would like change the subject when I would ask. So I was like, I ain't know. And then as I grew up, like in middle school, I would be at my one friend Andre's house all the time. And his mom would be like always have like smart comments. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, your mom works at night, every night, late nights. And da-da-da. She's like, obviously your mom's like a stripper or this or that. And I never like thought about that way. And I would hear her like call like, hey, how is it? Like, should I call on? Should I call? And it just never clicked until I got older. And I was like, damn, that is what she did my whole life. And then I was a little embarrassed. Yeah, not having like my dad around and then kind of being like embarrassed of what my mom did just made me like angry as a kid, kind of violent, kind of doing stupid shit, getting in trouble. I don't know, I felt like betrayed because like I didn't have my dad, and then my mom's like gave up on me and kicked me out. So I was like, damn, it sucks. Like everybody in my life like leaves me eventually or pushes me away. So that was a up feeling, but yeah, and I feel like that's kind of what resulted to trying drugs out and stuff, being at parties, different guys, everybody's doing different shit. Hey, you want to try this? You want some of this? You want one of these? And I'm just experimenting and trying stuff, and then you don't even notice until you've been doing it for like 2 years. Like, man, I'm kind of addicted to this. Yeah, I was in and out of juvie, all types of stuff, drugs, stealing. One time I actually stole from a police officer's house. I didn't know it was a police officer, obviously, but he had a camera on the house. I walked up, stole stuff out of his car, tried to get into his house, and his camera could see me go down the whole street, and I'm on drugs and I'm not thinking, I can't see the camera, I'm still out of everybody's house, and then he sees me go back into the house across the street at my cousin's I was staying with. A couple of days later, SWAT came, and they found me, they got me, and I was only like 14, 15. That was one of the many times. My very first time getting arrested, I want to say is the time. So I did a beer run. We're at 7-Eleven, me and a couple friends. We're outside of 7-Eleven. They're parked. I go inside. I grab a case. I don't see. There's a undercover in the store. I don't even see him. I grab the case. I act like I'm going to the counter, and then I run out the door. My pants are like falling. I'm sagging, and I hear like freeze. I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm running. I make it to the car, but I wasn't able to get in. The police grabbed me, slammed me on the floor, slammed me on the hood of the car. He's roughing me up a little bit, and he was like, what are you doing, dumbass? You didn't see the police inside there, blah, blah, blah. So so that was the first time. And coincidentally, I was stealing from Walmart 3 days later, and it was the same cop. And he was like, get in the car. Like, you already know, you're going to jail, man. because I was stealing like a bunch of fake jewelry and watches and dumb shit. This is when I was like 15. So then I'm walking out, and like these older white ladies that work at Walmart, they're like, hey, like we know you got some stuff. Just come in this room and give it back, and you could go. As soon as I get in the room, they like close that shit. Like they got like a little baby jail in Walmart. You didn't even know. They're like, you ain't going nowhere. Police is on the way. You f***ed up. I'm like, ah, shit. The first time was the hardest, I think. No, the first time that I was there for like a week. So after I was there for a day or two for the Walmart stuff, I got arrested like a week or two later. And I was in there for like a solid week. And I would go to court. And usually I would go to court and they'd let me right out. But he's like, nah, you got to come back again. So sitting there for like a week and like you're just in a cell and there's bricks in it. You're not used to that, especially as a kid. So I was like praying, like, just let me out and I'll do better. And then I'd get out and fuck up and go back. So I was like, damn. But yeah, wasn't scary because it's not like you're in like adult prison with like big ass guy. Everybody in there is kids or whatever, but it's still just sucks once you got to go in your cell and everything's locked. You can't get out. Brick walls everywhere. I had to learn how to like not just count the time because time goes so slow in there. I had to just start reading and try to do some push-ups or whatever the hell to pass time by. And then, yeah, and then I was there for a week and then got out and I'll go back. I was there for like 2 weeks, got out. I was there for like a month. And after that, they're like, man, we gave you too many chances. You got to go somewhere else. Got to go sit down for a long time, for a longer period. But I think that was best because after a while, the week or two, month or two, it wasn't phasing me. I was getting out. And I knew I was gonna go right back to what I was on already. But sitting out for a year, I was like, this is crazy. All guys, man. Mom only came to see me like one time. I was like, bro, this is depressing. I'm not ever going. I was scared as hell. As soon as I got out, I was like, I'm not leaving the house. People coming to see me like, come out with us. And I was like, hell no, I'm not going nowhere. Not trying to get in no type of trouble. I was like that for a while. I think that was the turning point. Once I started getting in trouble, I could tell my family was like, they would say it. They're like, that's exactly what, because I'm a junior, so they'd be like, that's what Big Jake did, that he's going down the same path. Because that's how my dad started. He's getting in fights at school, getting expelled, going to juvie, then he started going to prison, and then all of a sudden, he was 36 years old and been in prison most of his life. So that kind of pissed me off because I didn't want to be nothing like him. And then that's another reason that I started changing because I realized I was becoming exactly like him. And I think self-consciously, without even knowing it, I wanted to be like better than him at what he did. So I was like, I'm gonna sell drugs, but I'm not gonna get caught. I'm not gonna go to jail. I'm gonna make more money than you. I'm gonna do, yeah. So I don't know. I was like, without even thinking about it, was kind of in competition with him because I was so mad at him for not being there or whatever. And then I started getting in fights and I started getting expelled and I was going to jail. I was like, damn, I am ending up just like him. But I was like, I'm not gonna continue it though. I'm gonna switch it around. I'm gonna stop doing this dumb shit. Like after I went to jail for a year, I didn't do anything illegal. I hadn't gotten no type of trouble. I was just staying out the way. That shit's not fun. I feel like some people must like jail. If you sit down for years and then you get out, you know what that feeling was. Why would you do that shit to go back again? So I don't know. He was just different, I guess. At first it was like normal. Because I'm used to it, have my mom, whatever, but then as I start getting older and like going spend the night at friends' houses and then they got both parents and they got their dad or their dad's taking them to sports and shit, and I was like, man, I was a little jealous, a little envious, wish I had a dad around. And then when he would be out for a month or two, I would just glorify him because I looked up to him and I was like, man, my dad's cooler or my dad could beat your dad's ass or whatever the case was. But yeah, I try to make contact with him. At this point, it's like the relationship he was forcing was to make him feel better, like trying to make up for the past. But what's done is done. But I did realize I had to forgive him to like let go of all those feelings I had in myself. Because if I just held that hatred towards him, it's like he had like a hold on me. I forgave him and we got cool. We'd try to like have a relationship, but then one argument, it's like he got that prison mentality because he's been in jail most of his life. So it's like you with me or against me. It can't be like agree to disagree. So every time there'd be some little stuff, and then we start talking crazy, and then he'll try to like talk about my mom, and and then I'm like, where was you my whole life? And it'd be a whole big ordeal. So I'm like, yeah, I can say whatever I want about my mom, You can't say nothing because whatever she did do, that was for me to take care of me because she didn't have your help. You was in prison or wherever the hell you was all these years. So I'm like, yeah, you're not the person to talk to me about my mom. So we butted heads, and then we didn't talk for years and years. And then he actually died of a heart attack like a couple months ago. And it was weird because I didn't know how to feel. Because like in my mind, like he was already kind of dead to me already. And then he died, and it's like somebody I don't know, like, but it's my dad, but I don't know you. Can't even say that I love you. So it was weird. It was a weird feeling. Weird. I feel like I forgave him. Yeah, because at the same time, I mean, my uncles and aunts on his side, his brothers and sisters say that it's not all true, but he said that like he grew up in an abusive household and his dad was beating his ass and blah blah blah, making him leave, and that's why he had to leave, and he got into like gangs and started doing all the bad shit because he was tired of the abuse at home, so that's what made him go to the streets and stuff. And then, I mean, he was so young when he first started going to jail. Like, they was the same age. They had me when I was like 16, and then I came out when my mom was like 17. So just kids, and he was already in and out of jail and fighting and in gangs and stuff. So he is like a lost cause already, especially when you get hooked on drugs, get some drugs involved. He couldn't snap out of it, and then he would just get out. And he would try for a second, and then I need some money, and he would go do the same old shit, start selling drugs or whatever he had to do, tattooing, whatever he learned in prison. At first, I was thinking if my dad had been in my life, been around, I was like, man, maybe I could have stayed out of trouble. Maybe I could have been on the straight and narrow. And then like my mom, she was just looking at me, seeing him, and she hates him. So I was getting kicked out at 14. All through high school, I'm kicked out, going from friend's house to friend's house. So maybe he could have calmed her down, could have had somewhere stable throughout high school, stuck with my sports, maybe went to college or something. But then again, on the other side, like devil's advocate, I'm like, he was on that bullshit. So if he was in my life and he was still the same person, like I said, I'm 8 years old, he's taking me on drug deals. Who knows what he would have had me doing or got me into even worse things. Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have been the best influence. I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. So maybe he wasn't meant to be in my life. Because as bad as I was and as far as I took it, that was just on my own. So if I had him, I'm trying to show off for my dad or whatever, look cool, who knows the lengths I would have went, where my life could have ended up. So yeah, it could have been either way. Could have been better, could have been worse. Yeah, and then I moved to California, and that's when that's when I got the first job, first car, all that good stuff. And then I was in California with this girl I was talking to at the time, and she ended up getting pregnant, and I was only like 21, she was like 20, we were just kids. We're like, all right, let's move back. If we're going to keep it, let's move back to Vegas, be with our family to help us with the kids or whatever. So then I had my first kid at 21, and then 2 years later, had another kid. We were married at that point too, though. So we got married, had 2 kids, moved back to Vegas. Everything was good for a little while. We were married for like 5 years. And then, we got divorced a few years back. That's another reason me and my wife, my ex-wife got divorced because coincidentally, she ended up being a call girl too, and she was selling her stuff. So I was like, man, I'm married with kids to you. That's embarrassing. I can't, like, that's my wife. Is my wife the prostitute looking at her? So that was embarrassing. That was another big reason, because I'm like, I confided in you about like how my mom doing that, how that made me feel, and then you go do the same shit. I was like, so that was like a deal breaker for sure. I found out because she was telling me everything. She wasn't really hiding it. She was a call girl answering the phones and sending the girls at first. And then that only lasted so long. Then she just kept seeing all the money they were making and she wanted to get involved. And then it starts off like, oh, I'm just going to go talk and pick up a couple of hundred and I'm not doing nothing. And then it's like, oh, well, I just did this or I just did that. Just gave like a little hand job or I just did. And then now she's finally admitted she's had sex for money and stuff. So I'm like, man, that's no going back on that. She started stripping, and then eventually started being a call girl. So she, I don't know, maybe it was just easier, or she didn't want to go back after she got like a taste of the fast money. She didn't want to go back to the 9 to 5 and minimum wage and all that shit. But like I was already resentful, and like her doing what she would do. She'd be at work all night, come back, and I'm like, I'm not trying to like kiss you goodnight or nothing. I don't know where you've been all day, you know. So it was weird. We was sleeping separately. Wasn't really touching each other for like the last year before the divorce. And then one day she just came home and she was like, I want a divorce. And it was like a sign of relief. I wasn't even like, damn, but I was like, cool. Cause I wanted the same thing, but like I'm Italian, I'm Christian, I got like strong values, strong morals. So I'm like, I wasn't happy in the marriage either, but I'm like, even though I'm not happy, I was ready to not be happy forever. Like we just gotta fix it. That's how marriages work. That's what I thought. But then when she asked for the divorce, I was like, cool, cause I'm tired of just faking it, you know? And like I said, the kids were still like 1 and 2 at the time, 1 and 3. So it's like, might as well do it now. They'll grow up used to it. They won't, better than waiting 10 years. And then they're like, oh, is it our fault type of thing? Cause we were trying to stick it together, like stick together for the kids and trying to force it. But then we were like, there's no point in, we might as well split while they're still young so they don't grow up seeing us like fighting or any of that type of shit. So we just broke it off. As far as a relationship with my ex, we talk, we co-parent. We get the kids week to week. I get them for a week, she gets it for a week. We're cool. We're on good terms. We both know that we'll never get back together. It's kind of like a relative at this point, you know, we just keep it kosher for the kids, swap off. When I found out I was going to be a father, it didn't really hit me. I was just like, all right, I got a baby on the way. I was like, cool. And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, the only dad I know, my dad, he wasn't ever there. So I was like, all I got to do is be there, be in my kid's life. And I didn't realize how hard it would be. My first daughter, it wasn't too bad with just one daughter. Because then we take turns, switch off throughout the night. Because, you know, they wake up every 2 hours screaming, hungry. But it didn't really hit me until she actually was born. And I was holding her in my hands. And I was like, damn. I was like, yeah, life definitely changed that day. Everything turned around. I went to school to be an electrician. So I could stop making like minimum wage, entry level jobs. So I was doing electrical, try to step my life up a little bit. And then we had our second born. That's when it was tough because they're only like a year and a half apart. So this one's napping, this one's being loud, or this one's crying, wakes this one up. Could never get them in sync. So that was a tough couple years. But now they're older. They'll be 5 and 7 this year, so now they're older. They're walking, talking. There's 2 of them, so they could play with each other, always have each other. If it's just one, it might have been a sadder situation. I knew I wanted to just be there for my kids, and then like my mom being not even physically, just like emotionally abusive, because she would think I'm like my dad, so she'd just call me all types of names. I'm like, shut up, just hurry up, go back to jail like your dad, da da da. I mean, she kicked me out at like 15 and we didn't really speak. And then it's like, I tried to come back. I wasn't allowed to sleep in the backyard, nothing. She'd be like, get the hell away from my house. Calling me all my name, all types of shit. And to this day, she like blacked it out, won't admit it. She's never apologized for nothing. So that's something that I'm big on. Like, I'll get mad, I'll yell at my kids. And my voice is enough. I don't have to put my hands on them, luckily. But even when I yell at them, I like to apologize. Or if I'm wrong, I could actually admit that I'm wrong. My mom, the kids could never be right. She's like, man, it would upset her. But yeah, that's one thing. Like, I'll apologize to my kids and I'll tell them like why that went like that. Like, I had to yell at you because you did this and you can't do this. Because explaining stuff that was never explained to me, I'll get spanked and stuff or whooped on for something I never was told not to do. I'm just learning. I'm just a kid. So stuff like that. Big on that. Just I love sports, so I just got them into sports. I got my youngest in basketball. I'm coaching the team. She actually has a game tomorrow, so that'll be cool. As far as my anger and being mad all the time, I feel like my daughters definitely softened me up and made me definitely a big softie now. Now I'm a lot more chill. I don't get mad as easily. Definitely taught me patience. I did not have patience. They definitely calmed me down, kept me out of trouble. I think I definitely could use some therapy. I feel like that wouldn't hurt. Maybe like just personal therapy, maybe like some couples therapy with the girl I'm talking to now. Yeah, I feel like it couldn't hurt. Sometimes you don't know like the right questions to ask or like I don't know, how to get past it. It's easy to be like, yeah, I'm over it, because it is in the past. You can't just dwell on it or whatever, but Talking to a professional would probably help. I tell myself I forgive them. I've told them to their faces that I forgave them, and yeah, I just can't like dwell on the past. I don't want to, like, I've never been the type like I want someone like feel sorry for me, or I hate even feeling sorry for myself. Like, you can't always, everybody's been through something, right? We all got, you can't use that as an excuse to your life off or whatever. So it's crazy. I'm only 28. I'll be 29 in October. I feel like I've lived a lot of lives already, man. I had 2 kids when I was 21. I've been married and divorced. Crazy. It's crazy. Not even 30 yet. I do want to get married one day, but I don't want to keep getting married, divorce. I don't want to be that guy with 7 divorces. Yeah, so I just want to make sure it's the right girl, and whoever I'm going to get married to, like, they're ready to thug it out forever, even if it's ups and downs, because you're not going to be happy every day. There's going to be problems. There's going to be stuff to work through. Could go see a counselor or something. My ex-wife, I told her I paid for counseling, for marriage counseling, and she didn't show up. She went out, got drunk, hung out with some dudes, didn't come to the thing, so I wasted my money. And I was like, bet. That's why after that, I was like, yeah, it's for the birds. I'm fighting for what? For what? At the end of the day, I wasn't happy anyways. To my younger self, I would have just told myself to not, just calm down, just stay in school, stay in. I should have been more of like a yes man to my mom, I guess, because I don't know. Just if I would have kissed her ass more, maybe she wouldn't have kicked me out or whatever, and then I could have stayed in school. Because I played sports. I played football, basketball, baseball. I played every sport. And yeah. But then once you get expelled, then you go to a new school, and then I just kept getting expelled too fast to even stay in the sport. But if I would have stuck with sports, I could have went to college. I could have still just went to college, even if not. I think things could have been different if I just stayed out the bullshit and stayed out of trouble and stayed in school. My life could have been different, because I had like straight A's. I was in the honor roll classes. I was a starter for all my sports teams. I feel like I'm still healing. I feel like I'm healed from like my parents wise. Like, I forgive them. It is what it is. I just got a lot of stuff. I lost a couple friends the last like 2 years. Lost like 4 of my friends. Some OD'd. One got in a car accident. And these are like people I grew up with, like my closest friends. It's crazy. Everybody's just passing away. And they were all younger than me, so it's just wild. And then, yeah, so I'm just healing from like everything in life, but I feel like I am at peace. I'd like to think that I'm comfortable with myself and where I'm at, who I am right now. Like, if I was gone tomorrow, I would be satisfied with the mark I left on my family and the world, you know? I feel like I played my part the best I could with the cards I was dealt. All right, I'm Jake. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching.